Well, what's up, everybody? This is your girl Erica from the Classy Climb blog. Let me know if you can hear me and see me. Drop a one in the comments. I am out with family at a family vacation in the Carolinas. So if people run in here, we're going to run them out, but we're going to get this in and out in an hour. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Ericka Williams. I started the Classy Climb blog, author of a Smartphone Millionaire book, How to Invest in People, Businesses, and Real Estate from the Palm of Your Hand. Drop your city and state in the chat. Now you saw the thumbnail, it says Rush to Safety. You see the title, it's a heavy one, but let's get into it. Someone called me a fearmonger the other day and I said, no, I'm just reading you the tea leaves that are out here. You got a good 20% of us who are paying attention and awake and long-term thinkers, long-term planners. We plan for more than just next weekend. And then you got about 80% of society that's just drifting, right? They're just drifting. They have no clue what's going on. Tomorrow you show them something, they're like, hey, what's up? Why is the grocery store so high? They haven't been paying attention this whole past 2 years, right? We have people who are asleep at the wheel, right? They just are. And if you showed them all this today, they'd be like, huh? And that's just where we are in our society. So a good reason I even bring it up is I'm out here at this coastal beach town, and usually this area is dead. It's dead in the fall. It's the off season. But this year, what I've noticed is several more buildings closed, several more signs of people like, hey, we're just closed to March. We can't find any help. We can't find any workers. We're closed to March. Okay, we're closed to March. We'll see you guys next year. We're not even going to be open. We're not even going to spend the money on the lights. We're out of here. All right. So why is this important? There's a thing called economic cycles. Now, many people who are short-term brain, TikTok brain is what I call it, Instagram brain is like, well, y'all been saying it's going to crash for 2 years and it ain't crashed. Okay, Venezuela didn't become like that overnight. I got to watch a young man do a speech online where he's maybe 30, maybe 30. And he remembers living this well middle class life. And then all of a sudden, the next 3 weeks, they're collecting rain outside their house. Right. And so Venezuela didn't happen overnight at any chance. Right. Nothing in our history in America or the world has happened overnight. Now, you already know China and Russia's over there doing some yin yang business, and you can look that up on your own free time. But I want y'all to focus on America and why America. So I showed you in the community section about American Airlines cutting a lot of flights. We joke about the flyover states. Well, literally now they're going to really be flyover states. And I posted where they're cutting international flights. Now, uniquely, the international flights they sent to are very tourist based. They're very Instagrammy. They're very, Edinburgh, Scotland, Croatia, Dunbury. This was like during the Game of Thrones, which was a 10-year run. The whole winter is coming, the real originator of that. That was like a high. People went there every year to see these places where Game of Thrones was being filmed, and it was great. But you guys have noticed how I've posted about people moving to rural and suburb areas. And really, if you really read some of the stuff people are saying when they relocate is like, send me anywhere, right? If they're in California, they ain't got no family left in Ohio. They ain't got no family left in Michigan. They're just literally looking on a map like, where can I get some $500 rent? Where can I get some $600 rent? Where can I get some $900 rent? And they relocate to those places. Now, here's the difference of what's happening. The person that's in California, New York, and some of these Western states, they may have maybe a rental property or two, maybe a small side business. Maybe they're blogging. Maybe they have an internet business that gives them maybe $2-3 grand a month. So if they relocate, take everything out of their apartment they have right now, put it on Airbnb, and move themselves to Ohio, they'll get a big old house, a nice place for $800 and start a whole new little life in a little town and still keep their online business, still keep their rental out there, still keep that money flowing in, right? They'll get to live rich in a smaller town. But then you have people on the other flip side of that coin. They ain't got nothing going on. They don't own nothing in the town they live in. They don't own nothing in the city they live in. Their best bet is to relocate. Somebody said to Dallas, Texas, relocate to Texas and take any job. Relocate to Florida and take any job. Relocate to Atlanta and take their chances, which is dangerous. Relocate to Virginia, North Carolina, to any job. Tennessee, right? You got these single moms, you got these, I'm telling y'all, if y'all saw the emails we get, if you see the conversations among my other business friends, the amount of single mothers who leave Chicago, and I'm talking about they flood Madison, Wisconsin, they flood all those surrounding areas near Chicago, because they like, I got to get the cheap rent and get my kid out of Chicago. Or they're flooding down to Virginia, they're flooding down to Atlanta, they're flooding down to anywhere but Chicago just to give their kid a chance and have what? That cheap rent. That's happening. So you have two different migrations happening at the same time. You have people who I need a cheap job and a cheap place to live, leaving the north, right? Relocating at breakneck speed. You have people in California, New York, like, hey, whew, this ain't it. This taxes, this crime. You know, I may keep a business or two here in California, but I'm leaving. You literally have the chef. What's that guy's name? I just lost it as soon as I thought about it. Gordon Ramsay, who's made millions of dollars on TV, pots, sponsorships, everything you can think of, show after show after show. He's leaving California. He's taking the restaurant and going to Texas. Now, what was funny is in the comment section, it was all these Black and Latino. I'm trying to be careful. Oh, what's up? Thank you so much. It's all these Black and Latino people saying, well, he ain't got to leave California like that. And I laugh and I say, you know what? I got a little time to waste. I'm sitting here at the beach with my family. I'm going to cut up on Facebook. I'm like, California's crap. The policies are terrible. This is terrible. The crime is out of control. And you can see all these people go, well, I mean, he's been in California all this time. Why would he just leave? And I'm like, oh my God. There's this 80% of people who are blind. They're not even awake yet. They don't see thousands of companies leaving California. Most of what people tell me is, well, Ericka, you know, if all these people leave, great. It'll make housing cheaper. It'll make offices cheaper. It'll make all this other stuff cheaper. And I laugh because I know, like a person who buys stocks, REITs, and dividends, that a bunch of companies have bought these. They'll have a REIT, right? A real estate REIT. And all these corporate offices are inside that REIT. And they can't lower the price of rent because then it'll lower the what? Returns on the dividends for that REIT. So that's why you're in California, in New York, in Chicago, and they're telling you a building's renting for a crazy amount, because if they start dropping these prices all over the US, it throws those stocks off, right? It throws those REITs off. It throws what that investment company told you your returns were off. It ruins the returns for the pensions. You know what I'm saying? It's not just the stock market. You guys don't understand how all these things are intertwined. If you lower these prices all over these places, especially San Francisco, talking about they're going to lower rent, they can't. A lot of these things are owned by outside state trusts. There are several. I was at the Apex event in Dallas, and several of the men in there had investments in Colorado and Wyoming and like middle of nowhere. They ain't never been there. They don't live there. And I said, well, so how do you have a franchise there? Well, the franchise location needed people in that area, but couldn't find nobody. Nobody had the capital to do what? Bring a franchise to that city. So you got these men in Dallas who got a franchise in Colorado. They go check on it once a quarter, once every 3 months. They aren't really there like that. So that's why when I tell y'all, when you see some of these stores that are half empty and you're trying to figure out how this Arby's still open, how this other place still open, how this store open, it ain't got nobody out here. How is Hardee's still open? Is they money laundering? No. They've got some guy or girl in Dallas or Florida, some older person who's invested in a franchise in a whole nother place. They ain't even there. But they get the tax write-offs, they get the incentives, and they get some money here and there, right? It is what it is. And so what you have happening is crazy appreciation out west, everywhere that's not California. California has appreciated, but I'm talking about Idaho, Wyoming, Montana. I'm talking about Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico. Crazy level appreciation. Why? Because a lot of these people are moving over to this second home, this second launch pad, right? I interacted with a couple, and they had this bright ideal. We're going to manage all this stuff, and we're going to raise money, and we're going to work with our investors. And the woman was like, we can't do it in California. We've got to leave, at least for a year or two. So now they're living in Arizona, if I'm not mistaken. And they've raised like $5 million. They have investments all over the place. They're interacting with their investors because guess what? A bunch of people with money left California and live where? Arizona. So they're interacting with all these people with money in their pocket in Arizona. And what was funny is she's like, well, maybe we'll leave in a year and move back to California. And her husband's looking at her like, for what? Right? Like what you have people happening is people think, well, if we just make all this money, we can go back. But that's just it. What you're going back to is not the same. All these people you're running into in Arizona left just like you to start anew. Sorry, getting hyped up. Part of why I bring up all this stuff to you guys is a lot of my audience are awake, right? What's funny in the comments, a lot of times you guys will be like, well, everybody's selling courses. No, you're just awake enough to notice that. You're awake enough to see, okay, well, I've already bought this course, or I bought that course. The majority of people, when they keep giving you that survey that in 2036 or 2053, that Black and Latino people will have zero wealth, what they mean is Black and Latino people won't be owning homes. We won't have insurance. We won't have a bunch of money at the bank. We won't have a bunch of CDs. We won't have a bunch of investments. Okay, the medium age for a Black person is 33. The medium age for a Latino person is 32. You don't really even start to have a crazy net worth till you're 50. So you see they're already tracking way out for the future. So my friend said, well, Ericka, well, how did they know they're going to have a wealth? Talk to your average 32-year-old Black person right now. Talk to your average 32-year-old Hispanic person. Now, the Hispanic person probably wanting to buy a house, but that Black person ain't. Oh, I'm thinking about moving here and moving there, and maybe I'll buy a house when I move there. Go look at Atlanta. All these people left New York 20 plus years ago, still ain't bought no house. Atlanta has some of the lowest Black home ownership in the United States. Charleston, South Carolina has higher Black home ownership than Atlanta. Come on now. Majority of parts of South Carolina have higher Black ownership than Atlanta. So this is part of why I'm bringing this up, because a lot of people say, well, Ericka, you're fear mongering, all this, it should have crashed already. Why you keep talking about it if it ain't crashed? I'm literally telling you what you have a 5 to 10 year window coming. It's not going to happen all tomorrow. Some of this stuff is setting up now. And the reason I put summer 2022 on is you see the last of that stimmy money leave. You see the last of, like I'm telling you here at the beach, all these offices saying, well, when March comes, we'll open back up. What's going to happen so different in March? They're hoping the warm weather and people wanting to get to the beach will give them enough boost to have what? Workers and money, cash flow. Again, why did part of the Outer Banks have to shut down last year during the pandemic? So many New Yorkers came to North Carolina beaches and filled up all these rental properties, and 2 people came. Out of all those New Yorkers, 2 people came, went to the grocery store, bought up all this stuff, did all stuff, then collapsed inside their houses from the cough. And so then they had to lock this area down as best as they could, which it's a beach town. It's hard to do. So that showed you already where the money was leaving. They left New York in a panic. They didn't even have enough money to put all the groceries in the house before they got there. So they had to get here and buy up everything in the grocery store so they could be inside their beach houses that they are renting. All right. Okay. So you already saw that happen once. Now we're about to go into another little lockdown, and a lot of these people are already where they want to be. Now let's clarify. People say, well, Ericka, I can't wait for deflation. These house prices going to go down. All these places going to crash. Yeah. They're not really going to crash. They're going to soften, but they're going to hold. What happens next year? India opens up the floodgates. UK, Scotland, Ireland, Mexico, Canada, all these people that have been stuck in their countries, and they're surveying them like, hey, what you going to do? What you going to do? What's your travel look like? I'm going to America. They already telling their banks, I'm going to America. They're already telling their financial advisor, we're going to America. They already setting up appointments with apartment locators. We going to America. If we don't do nothing but buy something and hold it, we going to America. Why? Because America is the cleanest shirt in a dirty pal. All the shirts is dirty, but America's one of the cleanest. Okay? So I hope I didn't lose y'all on that intro. I know everybody don't be following, but I don't want to lose you. So if I show you American Airlines is cutting flights to some of these smaller tourist towns, they cutting flights to international. They say we ain't even going to do it in 2022. They already know the numbers. right? See, last year people said, "Oh, the airlines ain't gonna come back. It's gonna be, they gone." No, no, no. They knew. That's why they had all those workers on reserve. They knew that stimmy money was gonna flush in the summer, right? But they're doing the math. They're doing the calculations. Okay, most of the people that wanted to move done moved. Most of the people that want to leave California and New York, they done left. Most of the people that are trying to leave from the north to go to the south, they done left. But the reason I keep telling you Texas and Florida and Georgia have nothing to fear, because that 80% of people that ain't even awake. You got a bunch of cousins, uncle, and all of them ain't even paying attention. They're not even noticing what's going on. They're going to be those last minute Susies to leave and move down south, right? You already have people complaining, well, I moved to Atlanta. It ain't all that. It's not that cheap. Baby, Atlanta been popping for 20 years. It was cheap 20 years ago when your aunt came down. Now you trying to come down to get $500 rent. That ain't happening. It's just not going to happen. This is not what it is. So people pointed out, hey, Iran put economic sanctions on America, saying, hey, they over-police black people. And I go, that's just Iran's way of just talking, right? Politically. Well, how y'all gonna tell us what to do? And y'all treating y'all people bad. Don't worry about what we doing. Worry about yourself. That's essentially what they said. Don't worry about us. Worry about yourself. Okay. And so you're going to have more countries kind of stand up and do that to America in the next 3 years. Well, America need to worry about itself. It's raggedy. Its bridges are raggedy. Worry about yourself, right? Something that I've talked about the rural areas, right? If you see farmland being converted at some of the highest rates ever to housing, close the door behind you, to housing and apartments, right? So you got these rural areas, they got these agricultural tax deferments, and all of a sudden they're switching them. Now, if you drive anywhere outside of Austin, Texas, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, you drive outside of Houston, 20, 30 minutes, really 40 minutes because Houston's so ridiculous. You drive out of North Carolina, different parts, you'll see the same signs in every state. Whether you're Texas, North Carolina, South Carolina. Hey, losing your ag exemption? Let us help you. And it'll sometimes be goats in the picture. It'll be bees. It'll be llamas. Small rural businesses have figured out, hey, these guys are coming here. They get this land. They take it from being a farm and build a big old house on it or build a couple tiny homes on it. And now they've lost that tax break. They want the tax break back because they left New York, right? They left California. How do they get the tax break back? Here's some honeybees. Here's some goats. Here's some llamas. Hey, my company, we're going to take good care of you. We're going to run around and take care of these animals. And don't worry, every couple of years, we'll get a contract and get these goats slaughtered and get you some new goats. Get these honeybees out of here. Get this honey out of here, right? Because the person has no interest in the goats and honey and the llamas. They just want it for the tax write-off. They don't care. So that's a win-win for that local business that does what? Have the contracts. Again, middleman to millions. Localize. Imagine that. You're like, hey, let's get us 20 billboards out here. When that guy or girl who buys that piece of land and they convert it to whatever, they going to see that tax bill where they got to pay all this money back. And they're going to be like, oh, they're going to ask their lawyer. They're going to ask everybody, how do I fix it? Come back a mini farm. And that's what's going to happen. You can see all these little mini farms come out of nowhere. You're also going to see a rise in hobby farms. Because when you start going to the store and you see these food prices are exorbitant, which you should already be paying attention, your wife and your husband are going to say, how do we save money? Do we buy a cow from a farmer? Do we buy pigs and meats from local farms? Do we get in CSA, community supported agriculture? What do we get into, right? Listen, you already know. Listen, man, tomorrow, again, buying this rural land, I promise y'all, when I talk about, I posted something on the community wall about buying houses for $50K and renting them out to Section 8. Oh man, where you getting houses for $50K? See, a lot of y'all go look online and you look in the most hottest city, Atlanta, to see what's popping. And you don't go, let me go an hour outside of Atlanta. Let me go an hour and 30 minutes outside of Atlanta. And you say, why would anybody live out there? Because they can't afford to live in Atlanta. Right? See, what a lot of people are believing is, oh, all these major cities are the price of rent's gonna drop, Ericka, and I'm gonna stay here. Okay. And do what? Right? when a lot of people are going to say, I'm going to take the little bit of money I get from my side business, or I'm going to get that money from my online business, maybe 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 a month. What are you doing? And I'm going to go to an hour outside of Atlanta, because you got to think about it. The guy got in an argument with me on Facebook, and I thought it was funny. He was like, well, all these people moving to Florida are 60 something years old. The medium age is 60. I said, now, isn't the average person living past 80 now? Living close to 90 years old? We have people living the longest lifespans ever right now. 80, 90 years old. So you're talking about somebody moving to Florida at 60 from New York, they're going to stay there another 20 years. So now you have to account for this person moving around your ecosphere for the next 20 years. They're not moving back to New York full time. They don't even have kids trying to move back to New York full time. Okay? And so what people have to understand is this is called an economic cycle, right? And what people really aren't paying attention to is that handyman, that plumber, that guy that fixes everything in your town relocating south. Okay? Relocating to southern states, even if he's just a snowbird. Well, part of the year I'm in Texas, part of the year I'm in Florida, I'm in Georgia, right? So now that takes that man with that skill out of your area. And he's not stupid. He already knows, even at 65 years old, if something goes wrong and he's in Florida, he can just go ahead and put a little slap a sign on the side of a truck and do what? Go fix stuff out in Florida. Go fix stuff out in Texas. He will always have an opportunity to have not one, but two business locations. Why do you think micro dirty jobs is coming back? See, they did years. Micro dirty jobs did all this stuff. It was kind of like a joke. Look at all that. Look at them crazy dirty jobs. And now you have cities needing bridges fixed. You have cities needing roads fixed. You have cities needing all these things fixed. And they say, oh, we can't find people. What was happening during micro dirty jobs? Every one of those places they were showing were getting crazy level applications for young men who were like, oh, I can do that. I saw it on TV. I can do it. I can do that. I saw it. So now Mike Rowe is coming back with dirty jobs. After all them years of doing dirty, he's doing it again. Sorry, drunk on camera. I know somebody's out there crying. Their sensitive ears. So there's several people with websites and YouTube channels saying, oh man, mortgages is going to drop. It's going to drop out of here. It's just not. I have several friends who are becoming mortgage brokers as we speak, and they're literally getting inundated because two things are happening. Close that door. Close it now. They're being inundated with people who realize, okay, and there's a word I'm gonna use for this conversation. It's called lifestyle luxury living, which is heavy. But here's what happens. We had the Airbnb and Torino craze. What many people didn't realize is people have been living hold on. Good Lord, got to act like a ignorant. If y'all see me have to mute again, I'm about to have to act ignorant again. Okay, so get back to where I was. Luxury lifestyle living. Okay, luxury lifestyle living. What is that? What does it mean? What am I applying? It's many people that I interact with at conferences and events and seminars that are kind of upper income. They already are doing the 2-state living thing. They already have a second home in another state. They're already part-time there in that state, right? When I was at the SEMA event in Las Vegas, I mean, you got these deluxe, cars that are psyched up, nice, dripping, cool. And now one person said, well, why are these people spending all this money on these cars? It's the same with the watches. All these men storing $20,000, $30,000 into watches, $40,000, $100,000, $200,000 in watches. If something goes wrong, what will they do? Sell those watches. The SEMA event, you walked around this whole place, you're seeing people put $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 into cars. Vintage cars, older cars, young models, all this combination of stuff. And a lot of them had the tag on them that they were going to auction. Once they go to auction, sell for whatever. So people were basically housing money in those cars. They're housing, they're saving, they're essentially hedging their bet that they're going to put money in these cars. Why did they bring their cars to SEMA? They're putting on display before they do what? Go to auction. And they're also putting what? Their company on display. Almost every single car had it had an Instagram page, it had where you can find the company, what the company did. Hey, you can get something similar like this done to your vehicle. It was a marketing tool. Those people, majority of the people at that event, the SEMA event, literally everyone you spoke to, once you figured out they owned the car, they're like, oh, I live here half the time in Las Vegas, half the time somewhere else. Oh, I live here and I live in Alaska part of the time. Oh, me and my wife live in Arizona and we also live in Colorado. Oh, we homeschool our kids. Oh, we're business owners. Oh, we own a construction company. That literally was the person who, the majority of people who were at the SEMA were business owners in some shape, fashion. If I was able to go around there, which next year I'm gonna see if I can try to get away with it. I'm gonna have like a nice camera and one following me, like a little microphone, like, hey, like 90% business owners. And this was where they put their time, their play time, and their excess money into. And I wouldn't be shocked if a ton of those people had extra pews and extra gold and silver as well. So when people tell me, Ericka, who will get these mortgages? Those business owners. There are several business owners doing what? Corporate leases at apartments. To do what? Airbnb. Corporate leases at these houses to do what? Airbnb. If you're an owner and you're tired of tenants not paying on time, and here comes somebody with this offer to do this, there are some landlords who don't want to do out of state what? Airbnb. Now they got an extra level of worry, right? They got a house full of stuff and they got to worry about it, right? It's not a traveling nurse, it's not a traveling business person. It's literally a constant turnover they have to worry about. So that's why they open up the door to the luxury lifestyle living folks, right? That nice term they love putting on it. And that's who will get those mortgages. You're going to see more and more business owners getting mortgages. Now, there's a couple pages I follow out of guys out of Houston and Dallas, and they own 4 or 5 houses. And people be like, oh, that ain't a lot. That ain't nothing. Do you understand to be 1% in America is to own 3 houses? Huge number of Americans have a second home. Huge number, right? But only the 1% in America have 3 homes. When Bernie, what's his name? Senator Bernie, whatever you want to call him, was crazy. Bernie Sanders picked up his 3rd home in Vermont. And I think it was like the edge of Vermont. People were like, oh my God, he's become the 1%. Bernie Sanders. So all these years, Bernie Sanders had 2 homes. So it wasn't a big, nobody raised the eye. But when he got that 3rd one, a newspaper article said, hey, what's happened to Bernie Sanders? He's becoming the 1% we talk about. So that's who's going to get a lot of those mortgages, and those foreign buyers. You already have 60% of the homes in Austin being bought by foreign buyers. You already had 80% of the homes in Vancouver being bought by foreign buyers. You already had some parts of California with 60-70% foreign buyers. Don't get it twisted. Next summer, you're going to see the foreign buyers be like, whoo, they had me locked up in India. They had me on the lockdown. I'm gone, right? And that's what you're going to have coming to America. Okay, so when I talk about food safety and I put it in the comments, people talk about food safety, food and safety, right? When I talk about master plan communities, people were like, "Oh, Ericka, what about this and what about that?" And that's stupid. 48 laws of power, never isolate yourself. Incorrect. 48 laws of power, never isolate yourself, was applied to your community, right? You don't want to be the one man on the hill by yourself. That's an easy target. Master plan communities are just what they sound, exactly what they sound. They've planned these communities, and you can try to think of Terra Vista and Round Rock, right? They've got homes that are 700,000 in the back part, 500,000 in the middle part, 200,000, which are what we consider starter homes in Texas, in this front part, in the front of the neighborhood. Why? Because majority of people, and there's an area right by Apple that's the same way, they'll start that starter home. Then the husband maybe get a promotion. Stuff is really good. They love the school. They walk to school. They walk their kids to school. Honey, we could probably get a home over there in that $400,000, $500,000 range. Let's see if anything's available. They just move in the neighborhood further back. Well, let's say they're really doing good. Let's move to that $700,000 home. And that first home they sell. Why? More young families, starter families come in. But the key is that master plan community is those different levels all go to that one school. They have a cap. You can't have more than 20% rentals in the whole neighborhood. So let's say you move out of your house and you don't want your house to be, you don't want to sell your house, you want to make it a rental. Sorry, ma'am, we're already at 20%. There was one master plan community I could not even buy in with my LLC because they were like, hey, we don't have any LLCs in this neighborhood. We're not allowing 0%. We want all people who live in the home here. No renters, no Airbnb, no any other stuff. Gotta live here. So you're going to start seeing these master plan communities with these golf cart kids. They've got the store. They've got a corner store. They've got a little coffee place. They've got their school, their elementary, their middle school, their high school right here. You can get to know your neighbors. They got a little softball league. They got all these little activities, Christmas tree, lights, all this stuff in the neighborhood because it's only these children in this area. That will be more in the future. You'll see more and more of those communities in the future. They have no incentive to build other things. Now, a guy wrote an article saying, well, when you see these master plan communities, Ericka, it literally means there's economic issues in America. Yes, this is true. These communities are telling you, and people made a comment in the comments about how they drove around Houston. It was all these gated communities. Yes, there's a high significance of gated communities in Houston. Why? What's going on in Houston? Houston's not as bad as Atlanta, but Houston got some pew 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 problems. They got some smash and grab problems. So now they've got this gated community, and they got a guy security driving around in the golf cart. Hey, hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? Hey, 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 how you doing? What you doing over here? Hey, how you doing? Putting their eyes on you, right? It creates a community awareness of, do you need to be over here? That's why you see so many times these interactions, unfortunately, on internet, where some young man is asked, does he live over here? Now, I'm gonna just tell you like this: if I got any children in the neighborhood, you better let them know, baby, I lived over here before you. Okay, I've been over here. I don't know who you asking. Let me ask you how long you've been over here. But that's just my little 2 cents on that. But you'll start to see more of that. You'll start to see a lot more of that, and you'll start to see a lot more people move to these rural areas and have to assert themselves. Hey, my family relocated here from wherever, and now we're in town doing this, right? You'll have some of that too coming up. So again, Man of Tomorrow, thank you for the $100 super chat. He is the sponsor of today's show. At this point, Man of Tomorrow has a great book coming out. Hopefully we'll be able to get him on the channel soon. Tomorrow we have Rochelle Ward coming on talking about the future of handyman businesses. If you are in the Middleman to Millions class, you have probably seen some speaking from her previously. So again, I don't have my glasses on, so let me lean in here a little bit. I want to welcome all the folks here from Houston and Dallas. I've got a few pages I want to show y'all, so I'm going to go ahead and come in here. Miss America, I started prepping after a job loss in 2007. 2007, the markets crashed. I lost 35,000. Then in 2008, well, I won't get into that now. Crashes are constant, just in different markets. Lower class has constant crash. Hits them the hardest. That's right. That's why when people sit here and tell me, Ericka, I'm not buying no home if I can see my neighbor. I ain't spending 300,000 on a house. Baby, you're not gonna spend no money on no house. You're not gonna live in this city in 5 years. You're gonna see the cities have a certain group of people living there. Either you afford to live there or you're gonna be moved out. They're gonna have a lot of move along laws. Let me see if I have it up here. I had it pulled up where all these hotels across America, multiple municipalities start buying up hotels and doing what? Housing homeless. My half brother that's in, let me be careful. He's on the West Coast. He's a manager at one of these chains. Half the hotels is homeless people. The city's paying big, crazy money to the hotel for this. And it's not a rundown hotel. It's a nice hotel. When Marriott said it took 90% loss, it did take 90% loss. Took huge loss. Okay. So again, here's just some articles verifying what I said. There's 395 people in here. Let's hit the super chats. Let's hit the likes. We're gonna be rolling out a membership here on this channel. And some of these videos we only gonna have member only comments. Why? Because I don't need you fighting with me in the comments. Okay, we'll just talk to each other, just the members only. Then if that's what we got to do, but that'll be rolling out here probably in the next week or so. There's several new things we're putting out on the channel because we have a lot of new people came here. I appreciate every single one of y'all. I appreciate all the new people in the classes, all the people who bought the bundles in the Black Friday. There's a lot more to come. We got a lot we're doing, and between our vacation and between now. So, Ray, congratulations. Go. I want you to go. I want you to definitely go to NYC. Like, if there is a segment of people who they need excitement, they need nonstop, constant stimulation, go. You know what I'm saying? Like wherever you live, if you're gonna go back in California, you're gonna go back to New York, and you just have to be there in New York. Be there, but don't complain about it. Nobody cares. Like, that's I'm just gonna say that. There's no 800 rent in my area, Cincinnati. I just got my rental rented for $1,360. Even my cheapest rental is $1,100. Okay, so Cosmic Wisdom, if I go type in Cincinnati, but I type in 30 minutes, 30 miles out, am I gonna find $800 rent? I am 100% certain if I do this right now, I will find it. I am 100% certain. 100 for sure. Well, here's the thing. It's a combination effect. What you'll notice is in some of the articles they were reading, some of the people moved to towns that were like dying. And when they came, they were like, hey, I might open up a dance studio. There's open businesses in the, downtown. Like when I was in upper New York driving from Vermont, and I went to Lake Placid, New York, and I was just driving through all these little towns, lake towns. There were so many, like the upper New York, like just the main street was empty for rent. Like this one guy wrote it on the glass, $800 rent on the main street in this little nowhere town in New York. So, there's somebody who's going to move from NYC and move up to this little nowhere town, right? Or this lake town and make an Airbnb or a tiny home and start bringing some traffic, right? I told you guys, when I started seeing some of these little businesses, I was like, I'd be writing a blog every day. I'd be doing videos every day. I'd be doing all kind of pictures, Instagram thirst trap pictures, trying to get traffic to my location. I would be doing that. Somebody said, yep, moving to Texas. Dave Rubin is leaving California. Yeah, I mean, a little. So here's the thing. Everyone's coming here to Raleigh-Durham. It's driving up the cost of everything. An apartment was $900 last year. It's $1,300 this year. Let me tell you, Jasmine, when I lived in Cary, North Carolina, right after college, it was literally my rent for a 2-bedroom was $585. And my family was like, oh, you should come back to Fayetteville, or you should move somewhere else. And I ended up saying, well, maybe I should move to Charlotte, and I ended up going back to Fayetteville. I had even cheaper rent. So trust me, Cary, North Carolina, right down the street from NC State. And it wasn't a hole in it. It wasn't a piece of raggedy stuff either. It was nice apartments. It had families in there. You just literally had, it's just people are moving where it's cheap. And good, and that's you'll have people who are like that. But Ray, let me be very clear. Tell that to somebody who's 50 years old. Tell that to somebody who's 60. Tell that to somebody who's 75 years old. They ain't doing that. They ain't doing that shit. They ain't gonna be like, what I'm gonna do? I'm a 10x on my work so I can stay in New York. No, they gonna leave. They gonna come back in Thanksgiving and Christmas and see their family in New York, and they gonna leave. See, a lot of y'all are saying stuff in your 30-year-old bodies, your 20-year-old bodies, your 40-year-old bodies. You're not saying this. You're not speaking for 20 years from now body and energy levels. You're not speaking for that. There you go. Congratulations. You just won the lottery. See, what people don't understand is people think, oh, I'm gonna need $10,000 a month to live. I'm gonna need $20,000, $40,000 a month to live. I'm an active business owner. My cost of living right now is low, but my business expenses are way ridiculous high, right? We're moving them around. Somebody right here, boom, 2 rentals. I live in one. I rent the other one out. Chilling. That's right. Warehousing. They don't want to mess up the returns. He's moving the whole thing. Oh my God. Listen, Urban Spectre, I called old boy and asked him would he come back on to talk about home inspecting again. I'm gonna see if he'll do it. You know, I'm gonna see if he'll do it, but we'll see if we can bring him back on again to talk about home inspecting. He's a big real estate guy now, so we don't know. We don't know. We'll see if he'll do it for me. But yeah, they're gonna make a bunch of money. They are, yes, cosmetism. That's when I was at the event in Las Vegas. There were several guys in there in Arizona and Las Vegas, and that's what they were doing. They were literally converting top floors to condos. They were changing old hotels to duplexes and all kind of stuff. They were moving it around. Apple's building a research triangle. Oh, listen, y'all, I went home to Raleigh. Well, I went home to North Carolina and I looked at apartments in North Hills. I looked at apartments all over. I was trying to do a little Airbnb thing. I was trying to find a house rental and I was just shocked at the price. I was like, 2,000 for what? I was like, oh, yeah, it's hit, y'all. It's already hit, y'all. It's up there. I was just shocked. So, Jabras, when people talk about crime, what type of crime, right? Are you getting shot? No. Are people getting murdered? No. But a lot of smash and grab, porch pirates. Let me take something that's I can see crime is happening. Nah, go on to New York. There you go. You'll be happy. Oh, for sure, for sure. There you go. Texas residents. Workforce Solutions will pay for training for the C word related unemployment and low employment, healthcare, technology, and trades. Melinda Suzanne, look at you. Thank you so much. You brought in the valuable information of the day. We'll probably do a little video on that. We'll do a video on that. Ohio residents can get free IT training. Okay, I see that. Yeah. Google Texas 2036, the whole campaign to form to get more young adults into Texas, into trades. Oh, you listen. So what ended up happening is they did a kind of like a 20-year, I think it was 20 or 25-year follow of all these Hispanic children, like thousands of them, thousands. Like I don't remember if it was 20,000 or 30. It was like just a ridiculous number of Hispanic children. They just kept following in every year, kind of checking on where these children are they having children? Are they birthing people? They did it. Like a college was paid to do this study. And they realized at the end of 20 years, all these Hispanic children just did exactly what their parents did 90% of the time. They either, if their mom owned a cleaning company, now they own the cleaning company. Right? Their dad owned a construction, now they own a construction company. Their dad did this, they did that. They were a roofer, now they're a roofer. Right? They had this explosion at Texas A&M and several of the schools, Texas State, for construction management of Hispanic people in construction management. Just a huge number of these kids. So what they assumed, and this is just what was the thought, was like, hey, all these Hispanic people are going to kind of just become doctors and lawyers and nurses. And yeah, that's what they'll do. No, 90% of children became what their parents were. The 10% did something different. Same thing in the military community. The majority of recruiters' job is just going to, I hate to say this like this, finding enlisted people's children. That's it. Because almost 80% of the recruitment levels come from enlisted people's children. Their mama lived their life. Their daddy lived that life. People were always looking at me and my siblings like, why are y'all not in the military? The stats literally show you if you go in the military, your children will go in the military. Your grandpa's in the military, your daddy's in the military, you will go in the military. It just is what it is. So these communities, you're almost having to come in and like slap a person like, hey, there's opportunities in this. And because the person hasn't seen their mama do it, their daddy do it, their cousins do it, it's like, I don't know. Maybe I can do it. You guys have this comment section jumping. Good topic. Hit the like button. Hit the like button, you guys. Yep. Here in North Florida, people are going back to rural and suburban lands so that people thought the land was out of the way and no use. Yes. So one of the guys I'm actually going to visit is I'm going to fly to Fort Lauderdale for a second. I'm going to go up to Port St. Lucie, and then we're going to go even deeper past Port St. Lucie to like a small town where they're selling land for like nothing and possibly build some properties there. I mean, pretty much when he was doing the math, we're like, that's some great math. What's happening in Florida is all the southern Florida is people relocating, and they're like, oh yeah, party time. International people relocating to South Florida People that live in South Florida are like, I'm giving it up. It's too much. I'm out. And they move an hour up. They move to northern parts of Florida. All the influx of people in northern Florida are mostly southern Florida residents. Go look at the numbers. It shows you over and over. That's where most of the people are. Because Mississippi has a bad history. If you look at the like 80 to 90% of people that have inherited land, they live in Chicago still. Even as bad as Chicago is, they're like, I don't care that I own all this inherited land in Mississippi. It ain't worth it to me. All right. So this right here was interest in relocating remains elevated. And this was in July. 1 in 3. Redfin users are looking to move from somewhere else. Phoenix, Las Vegas, and Sacramento were the most popular destinations. Okay, why Sacramento? Is it ain't LA, right? So definitely check out Las Vegas. Is still poor. Las Vegas is never getting a break. Miami, Tampa, still high up here. Look at these numbers. Quarterly net flow of Redfin users for Las Vegas. This is 2017. This is 2021. I keep telling y'all what's going to happen is all these people that keep saying, oh, I'm never leaving California. I ain't never leaving. Then they mama leave. Then they grandma leave. Then they whoever leaves. Now half their family live in what? Las Vegas. So guess where they moving? Las Vegas. The purpose of what people don't understand, and a lot of times these internet folks talking crazy is, oh, I'm never getting married. I'm never having family. I'm never doing all this stuff. What's your purpose for living? Because life is about people. So I hope you figure that out because that sounds crazy. Okay, so if you keep going on here, of course, Austin, Texas, we on the list. Atlanta, Georgia, Dallas, Texas, Cape Coral, Florida, and Orlando, Florida. All right, let's go again. Let's go see another one. Post-pandemic migration from expensive cities, likely as one in Florida, newly remote employees expect to work from home. Right, 50% of people in New York, Seattle, San Francisco, and Boston would move if work from home became permanent. Right, this is really happening. All right. Okay. Home buyer interest in rural area rises with prices up 11% in July. Okay. Look at this rural homes. Look at this. The red is rural. The blue is suburban. The drop down here where nobody's coming back is urban. That gray line is urban. Can everybody see that? Do I need to make that bigger? Please tell me if you can see that. Right there. Can y'all see that right there? There's 450 people here in the chat. Hit the like button. Also, I see these cash apps. I'm going to read them off. I apologize. I'm just trying not to lose train of thought. Let me go in here. Okay. Where is it at? Right here. Thank you, Carl Thompson. Thank you, Sister George. Thank you, Jay White. Thank you. Who is it? How do I read this? Thank you, Lamont. Okay. Thank you, Mark. Okay. And thank you. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Gibbs. Thank you. Oh, that might be an old one, but thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for the cash apps. Appreciate them. Didn't mean not to read them. Chicken farms too. Yep, chicken farms. In Florida, you can have a cow on your property. It's kind of funny. State of Arkansas is doing pretty well. Mm-hmm. Okay. Macon, Georgia, the South will rise again. I mean, it's going there. People stay sleeping on the South. What's gonna happen is they're gonna economically is gonna be so hurt. They're gonna be like, I got to go somewhere. I am Latina. Well, thank you. Welcome. I watch you hopefully to know if anywhere in Florida or Georgia is cheaper to buy a small house with a yard and raise chickens that lay eggs. Life in town needs food. Short to podcast. Jacksonville, Florida has the number one Latino home ownership. So it depends on what you want in the city you're looking for. But Jacksonville has number one Latino home ownership. You also have just anywhere I've named, like anything above Tampa, Port St. Lucie, Indiantown. There's several little places in Florida that you can go and enjoy the sunlight and get some water and get some suntan. You can barter with him. Hey, listen, man. I mean, it is what it is. Arkansas, Northwest Arkansas is popping. Yeah, so Henry Washington, if he ever comes on the channel, he talks about Fayetteville, Benton, Springdale, right? They're paying people to relocate. This is what it is, right? Even now, when I talk to people about, and I show them something in, our friend looked for something outside of Fayetteville, Arkansas. It was like 200 acres for $250,000. So there's a lot of opportunity. Yep, Inland Empire in 4 years, or what do you say? Rents went up 4x in 1 year from $800 to 240,000. Yeah, I mean, people literally are trying to escape inflation. They're doing everything to escape inflation, but what you need to do in inflation, which is home ownership, which is gold and silver, hard assets, land, and something that pays you residual income. Ericka, peep the location of the recent tornadoes in KY to where they're building the new Ford plant. Listen, them weather machines was working overtime, but I ain't gonna say that out loud too much. There's countless, right? But again, here's the thing. Many people many people don't I mean, literally, I had a friend start talking about Bitcoin, and this was when Bitcoin was crashing one day, and he's like, yeah, I saw this stuff on the Bitcoin, what do you think? And I'm like, Bitcoin, like, what? And I realized the news of Bitcoin just had got to him, right? It was like it was new to him. He didn't realize, hey, Bitcoin's been having this stuff, right? Namian Buckner, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. I am talking to a child like that. No, there's no older adult in this house that I would talk to like that. I would get punched in the face. No, and some of these kids are like, preteens. They're not my, no, that wasn't my nephew, it was another kid. A lot of these kids are preteens. They're from 8 to 12, and they're sitting there like, why can't I just come in here and do whatever? No. Listen, every kid in this house is absolutely spoiled. Every kid in this house parent either has multiple rentals. They've been coming out here to these beach homes every year around Christmas every year. And they have expectations. So almost all of them are spoiled, in my opinion. But that's just that suburban life we live. We don't even. Everybody here has rentals. Everybody here, this is a vacation, right? Hey man, listening to you while driving Lyft, and me and this older white man had a great combo. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad it was helpful. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Cars, yeah. Mr. Old School Rider, they take those cars to and market on them. Blue Ocean Strategy. Yes, this is very much something you have to look into. Well, you have to think about it. The past couple years, if you had a car salvage lot, it was very low in value. Like breaking it up, crushing the car, getting stuff out of the car. It really didn't make sense. But you just saw they busted a ring of Cadillac converters thieves. Like you just had literally a ring. They stole thousands of Cadillac converters, and they were all immigrants, black, Asian, white. And people have been making jokes like that's the type of unity we need in America. And I'm like, these people went around stealing countless Cadillac converters. This is true. There you go. In Minneapolis and St. Paul, all the Hardee's fast food closed. They're all in Wisconsin, Minnesota, small towns with no other chain. Yeah, like people, that's the only food they got. Thank you, William George, for the $15 cash app. Super chat. I apologize. Okay. I'm missing dinner. Right? Everybody done ate dinner already. Okay. And then I live in a match brand community where houses start at 600,000. Is the goal to only have people that can afford it live there? Of course. Of course. What you'll notice about master plan communities as well is they have a lot of mother-in-law and suites. Tell everybody in your Uber and Lyft hello tonight. Yes, we're at the beach house right now. My town in Florida is like that. No Airbnb. Listen. They blocking that money. That's what they are. 48 laws of power. Concentrating your forces. Uh-huh. Factory towns, railroad towns are exactly the same as that. Worker homes close, then manager homes, then business homes, then doctor homes. That's right. I believe it. I believe that security is top notch. You can't get through there. Hmm. I think Man of Tomorrow is book is not done. He told me to wait till his book was done. Man of Tomorrow can let me know whenever he wants to come on. Well, you're going back to New York, Gizmo Ray. So just going back to New York. Oh, boarding houses been listen, them more boarding houses making a comeback. You guys, that looks like that's Hope Marshall. If you need help with your resume, I'm gonna post it on the community tab. Y'all better reach out to Miss Marshall. Okay. You looking for new work. You gotta get that resume right. Chicago, money, money, money. That's what it is. This is very, very true. Down here in Dallas, I have a doctor in NY buying up at 20-acre parcels all over the Metroplex, looking to get in. I'm telling you, he gonna run that bag up. He gonna live his best life. Thank you. There we go. 2-bedroom in Alliance, Ohio, $700. There you go. There you go. What's up, Alonzo? I'm not sure about timber prices. I would check in South Carolina next time. Let me see. I don't think it's going to crash. I think it's going to soften in some places, and it'll be like a very steady plateau. Listen, home inspection is going to keep you busy for a long time. Listen, this is what this if you're watching this channel and you're like, Ericka, you're always crapping on New York and California. The crazy part is my number one buyers of my courses, products, and consulting are New York, well, California, and number two, New York. Sometimes they overswitch each other, depending on the numbers. We got to go look at them again. Number 3 is Ohio, number 4 is Florida, number 5 is Atlanta, number 6 is Texas. I think. I gotta go look at the numbers. It changes each year. But I know why. Because of you living in a very expensive city and you're trying to figure out how to make it make sense to keep living in this city. That's what it is. And that's okay. Welcome to the channel. We take your money gladly. I want you to stay in New York. I want you to get that vibe and that Harlem, that new Harlem, because it ain't the old Harlem. I want you to get that vibe going. But if you don't own nothing in that city, it won't matter. The prices will keep going. So, I see what you're saying. Melbourne, Florida, 1,500 a month. Thank you. Memphis is getting something. I see what's happening. If you look on Pinterest, you look on YouTube, you see this resurgence of homemaking and being a homesteader, and your wife having all these plants and all this, she's growing crops and all this stuff. And that's kind of it is what it is. It's you're gonna see a lot of that come back again. Okay, let me finish some of these articles because I know these kids is ready to play pool in here and cut up. So let me move around here. Okay. Over here, rural home look at this. June 2nd, because it takes a minute for us to get all this data. Accurate data. Okay. Rural home purchases outpace urban purchases through 2010s. Right? So since 2010s and beyond, people been like, y'all can have this city stuff. You can have it. Why are people buying these homes? That shit is costly. Like 2010 versus 2019. Look at the suburbs. Look at the rural. Right? The numbers are reversing. Okay. Number of homes purchased in urban and rural areas. Number of rural homes purchased. You see right here. You look at these. All right. Distribution of home loans. Okay. Mm-hmm. Distribution by gender. Look at the male is the blue. Okay. The green is female. It's increased over the years. In 2019, you had a 3% increase of women. You had it also in the suburbs, more women buying. You also had it in the urban. So every one of these, you can see where more women are buying. Now look at the age. Okay. Urban is red. Okay, that means city. 25 to 34, a ton of urban livers, dwellers, buyers. Okay, look at the suburbs. 35 to 40, their desires change. 45 to 50, their desires change. Over 55, they're going to the country. They're going to the suburbs. Okay, you can check out all this on your own too. So Zero Hedge is a great place to get a lot of good information. Um, Let me see. Real inflation. This is a good article. You can check it out. You can read more on it. Real inflation is 9%. The Fed thinks it can stop it by raising rates to 2%. Again, if you have a brain, if you have a brain right now and you've gone to the store and you know the cost of milk has gone up, you know the cost of foods and veggies have gone up, you know the cost of things have changed. Right? There's an old argument. If you go watch old Dave Ramsay podcast videos, uh, husbands are always like, the food budget's out of control. And Dave Ramsey will say, do you go to the grocery store with your wife? No. Have you ever been to the grocery store with your wife? No. How do you know the food budget's out of control? Because it just seems out of control. Well, if you have never been to the grocery store with your wife, how do you know the price of stuff is? You don't. Right? So anybody with a brain can tell you that gas is up, that housing is up, that several things are up. Again, look at this. Right? I mean, you can look at this on your own time, but another thing is the dollar appreciation, right? Anytime, so we have to think about it like this. Belize, right? Everybody knows Belize, they use the United States dollar. They speak English. A lot of your phone dispatchers you're speaking with on the phone are from Belize because they speak English so well. Like, I mean, again, they look, if the dollar keeps going higher, it affects and hurts Belize, right? Because people come in from other countries, they got to use the dollar when they get there, or they got to exchange their money at the exchange place because they use dollars. They use Belizean money, but they use a lot of dollars. It hurts people when they come visit to Belize, right? Several of the South American countries, when you see those people flooding the borders, and we're essentially paying Mexico to, hey, keep that down. Keep them people from coming over here. Mexico's like, all right, y'all better bring us some more money. We send lots of money to Mexico every year in the form of security, in form of like this good energy, prosper, hey, let's protect each other kind of thing. And it happens often. So you have global liquidity, you have tires. Check out a lot of this stuff. I want you to go see what happens versus the euro, the pound, the yen, the Canadian dollar. Holiday season in Florida, yeah. Land is a very hot commodity. They're not making any more. That's right. Careers, your family has influence on you. I'm a software engineer, so is my sister. My dad is an engineer for Verizon. My brother's studying mechanical engineering. Seattle's getting the influence of people. I'm telling you. Got out of the military in 2019, moved to Phoenix. I was not going back to NYC. There's a lot of people who want to move back. No lies. Listen, I remember being a kid in North Carolina, and all these New Yorkers were just, they have all of these kids, and these kids were always talking smack, like, I'm from New York. Baby, you've been here since you were 5 years old. You're 15. You're not a New Yorker. Give it a rest. Until you live in New York as an adult, you're not a New Yorker. Oh, I mean, they're literally giving away lots of downtown buildings. You're absolutely correct. Appliance Boot Camp. Yep. Listen, I gotta have you on the show at some point too. In Florida, you get tax breaks, of course. Thank you so much for the super chats. Thank you for supporting the channel. Texas is an example of economic infrastructure growth. It really is. Nick, Ericka, no, they need to stay in those urban hoops where they're at. Most people make it what it is, and I don't want them bringing it here. Well, let's be honest. If you actually track LA to Utah, Salt Lake City, Utah, and Los Angeles, the gang activity followed those people. Same thing happened in Chicago. You had these people moving to these rural areas, and unfortunately, gang activity did follow. I know I got to be quiet. I can't say that too much. Thank you again, William George. Edna James, thank you. I appreciate it. I already talked about it early in the show, Brian. I already talked about it. Definitely can super chat. That might be in my members only because doing videos where everybody can hear it, it doesn't make sense. Oh my God, that's crazy. I've seen people HOA fees at 800. So Thunderbolt GA, okay. What would be the first thing I invest in if I won the lotto? Man, first of all, I'd have to play it. But if I did win it, oh, I mean, I would buy it probably in North Carolina or Texas. I'd buy 2 apartment buildings and I'd buy 5 vacation homes because it's such a way of life out here in North Carolina that, a lot of these places are full year round, all the way up to the next year. They're already booked up for the next year. San Antonio, I'm gonna say this, and I know y'all love people like San Antonio. San Antonio's shitty. It's shitty. Only thing it's worth is if you already got a family and you want to. If you already got a family with kids and you just like, you know what? I don't care that I have to commute in terrible traffic and nothing's going on in the city. I can go home. I can go home where my family is. That's San Antonio. Pretty much the influx of people moving to San Antonio are military retirees and also military retirees and people who are, I need some cheap ass rent. Like that's all I ever see. Like in every study they're showing of people leaving Austin for San Antonio. I remember meeting this girl and her biggest thing was like, I just want to own a home. And she couldn't do it in Austin. So she moved to San Antonio in the middle of nowhere, got a $130,000 home, and she's happy because she works from home. She's an introvert. So to me, I'm like, I'm glad for them, but I don't see the point of it. Huge, huge. Uber drivers from Belize. He has a business in his home country. The Australia allowed him to have multiple businesses and set up his retirement Belize. Exactly. I know. I mean, it'd be so ghetto. I can't stand these New Yorkers be from middle of be living down here 20, 30 years to my I'm from New York. Baby, you're 45. You haven't lived in New York since you were 5. Please stop. It's embarrassing. If I was in New York, I'd be embarrassed for you. I'd be like, get out of here with that crap. DFW, let me tell you, DFW, and I posted the pictures. DFW itself, population metro, is bigger than 31 states. So when people's talking about Austin's crazy it's overpriced, you got to see Dallas. Like people, black people, Latino people, Hispanic people, they've been pouring into Dallas and Houston. Like they don't even look at Austin. They go, Austin's ridiculous. I love you, Ericka, because I'm going from logistics to tech, and the VA is paying for all my certifications. Listen, give a big shout out for D Wims. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for supporting the channel. Take a picture of that and share it. I love it. Yeah, all that stuff. Those people cutting up. Fitism girl, does my YouTube course make sense for my business? Send me a message send it to admin@classyclimbers.com. I'm not certain. I'm not certain. And I'm running out of time. The kids here are losing their mind because they can't come in here and make noise. Thank you, Nick Taylor. Tell him San Antonio is crap. Moved out there years ago. Still own my house and land, but they can have it. That's why when they said, "Oh, we can get the Buffalo Bills down from New York and they can move to San Antonio," I'm like, ugh. To force people to drive to San Antonio when the money's in Austin? Why? The military people want to go. Yeah, I'm a cheap ass. For sure, for sure. I'm telling you, I promise you, I know a girl who was born there, left New York at 2 years old, been in North Carolina her whole life, and still to this day, like, I'm a New Yorker. And we just laugh in her face. We're like, baby, you left when you were 2. That don't count. But look, there's 424 people here. Let's you guys hit the like button on this show. Thank you for supporting the show. If you want to cash at me, cash at me. We are on our vacation. It is what it is. Tomorrow we'll have a show with Rochelle. And I hope you guys have enjoyed the conversation. I hope you enjoyed the information. I tried to make this some preschool people talking about they're New Yorkers. It's disgusting. It's absolutely insane. It's like, girl, you've been in North Carolina. You have a North Carolina accent. Your daddy's wearing overalls. You live on a farm. Shut up. So listen, the kids are getting restless. They want to come in here and make noise and dance and do the Cupid shuffle. So I hear you anyway. But all right, you guys. guys hit the like buttons. And this is your girl Erica, Classy Climb. Talk to you later. Bye.